planning to fight.
Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face!
His new Defense Secretary pick, Pete Hegseth, echoes his views. The Fox News host and former major in the US National Guard has criticized weak, effeminate leadership in the military and argued in a recent book that the next commander-in-chief will need to clean the house. He has also said that medical care for transgender personnel is an extravagance and that the Pentagon cannot afford. Adding that focusing on the issues that affect only a small number of people in the military is an example of trans lunacy. It's not just the military though. Trump is committed to imposing broad restrictions on transgender individuals in various sectors. His administration may move to exclude transgender students from Title IX protections, affecting policies on pronouns, bathrooms and locker rooms. Trump has also pledged to restrict access to gender-affirming care and prevent trans athletes from competing in school sports.
Viewers, today, all day, a narrative is being built to suggest that the ASI survey on the masjid in Sambhal was on the back of a legally infirm order by the local court. Opposition spokespersons and the pro-India bloc ecosystem will point to the Supreme Court Chief Justice of India-led double bench order to justify this takeaway. What they won't tell you is that the Supreme Court has passed no judgment on the merits of the matter. What they won't tell you is that the Supreme Court hasn't ruled on whether the survey was illegal. All the Supreme Court has said is that the Muslim side or the masjid side must approach the High Court if they want a permanent injunction against the lower court ordering a ASI survey. Let me sum it up. The trial court is not to pass any order in the case till the matter is brought up before the High Court. In any case, viewers, the trial court was only going to hear the matter in January. So there was no question of the trial court passing any order in the interim. Second, the Supreme Court has ordered that the mosque committee should approach the High Court. The Advocate Commissioner can file the survey report, viewers, so there is no stay on determining the character of the disputed site, which of course in Sambhal is that masjid. The survey report, however, will have to be kept in a sealed cover, and the Supreme Court has told the local administration that they must form a peace committee, and they don't want to see any untoward incidents taking place. And they've also directed the UP government to maintain peace and harmony. Next Sambhal survey case hearing after January 6th. Now viewers, most importantly, the opposition and its ecosystem will never once tell you about an affidavit filed by the ASI that makes some shocking revelations. Indeed, in an affidavit, and you can see the copy of that on your screens right in the middle, this has been submitted under oath in court on November 28th, just yesterday, in which the ASI has revealed that the Masjid Committee has made modifications, additions and other structural interventions to alter the character of the mosque. The affidavit, which has been signed by Vinod Singh Rawat, Superintending Archaeologist, Meerut Circle ASI says, and let me quote it, even officers of the ASI were not allowed to enter the premises of the monument for the purpose of inspection. It is submitted that the Masjid Management Committee involved in the monument has carried out various interventions, additions, modifications, etc. at the monument. The inspection undertaken by ASI officers in the month of June 2024 records some of the interventions done at the monument. However, there are restrictions on the ASI team for inspection, and hence it is very difficult to ascertain the violation of the provisions of the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958 and the current status of the monument. Now viewers, these interventions are very serious. But even more is the brazen attempt to hide these modifications by not allowing or even restricting the ASI officials from carrying out inspections. Viewers, as you know, the act that was passed to look after the archaeological sites forbids anyone from making any alterations without seeking the permission of the ASI. If all of this is being done surreptitiously, you have to ask why. And these claims under oath by the ASI raise some very serious questions. Are the modifications being carried out by the masjid side an attempt to alter the character of the masjid itself, viewers? It's a fundamental question. Question 2. Why would the masjid committee block ASI surveyors from carrying out inspections if there was nothing to hide? And is the rush to approach the Supreme Court and High Court an attempt at preventing the truth being revealed to the Hindu side? And most importantly, viewers, think about it. Think about it. If there is some sort of an injunction on Hindus to determine the character of a religious place, whether it is a mosque or it's a temple, which is of course disputed, why should the Muslim side have a right to alter the character? Isn't that an iniquity, viewers? Isn't one side being discriminated against? These are fundamental questions, but fundamentally, viewers, it needs to be asked, has the truth been modified in Sambhal, in this masjid, to cheat Hindus of their claim? That's the fundamental question. And let's open this up for debate. Vishnu Shankar Jain is there with us. He's a petitioner from the Hindu side. And of course, we have a lawyer. He's a lawyer from the Supreme Court. There's Sharat Trivedi, spokesperson of the UP BJP, Tehseen Poonawala, and Tariq Khan, spokesperson of the Samajwadi party. Mr. Khan, let me ask you a question here. The ASI, under oath, has come out and said in no uncertain terms that modifications, let me just read it to you, modifications, additions and other structural interventions have been made to alter the character of the mosque, and that they are being stopped from carrying out inspections, reasonable inspections. So I'm asking you, why is the masjid committee stopping the ASI officials from carrying out inspections, sir?
I think it's under ASI since many years, or just last year. Let me complete. Just last year, we just a dream came to us. Just let's have Sambhal Masjid under ASI. It's under ASI since 1920. So I just want to know that how many times ASI had gone there, and whether they have recognized before this controversy arise that yes, they have trying to change the character of the mosque. And why ASI in not 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. Never said anything that the character of the mosque by the committee is trying to change the character of the mosque. Why suddenly today they are saying all the things? This is a simple question, and not you. ASI must respond to this, that why you are saying that all the things suddenly happen like this. Listen, all the cases, like three prominent cases, Ayodhya after independence, from 1950, the matter is in the court. If you talk about Gyanvapi, since 91, it's in the court. If you talk about Mathura, 1968, it's in the court. Why didn't ASI and everybody have raised this question? Since just 10 days ago, they have all suddenly started saying all the things that this was there. Why you are not saying since last 10 years, 5 years, ASI was there? Why didn't your ASI was sleeping, or somewhere they are on ISS They are working on ISS, International Space Station. They are working on that. They might have some project on ISS. That's why they are not concentrating on the monuments of India, Uttar Pradesh, everywhere. I don't know what is the reason, but everybody have a list. Like I'm saying that Buddhists have a list that Hindus have destroyed our temple. The list is of 84,000. Hindus says that we have a list of 30,000. Let's demolish all the thing and see what is inside. I have no issue with that. But we have to see a proper procedure to look into all those things, that how will go ahead peacefully. Listen, one important thing said by Supreme Court, that Peace Committee should be placed into the order. I am the member of Peace Committee of my district. I know the importance of Peace Committee is this, that both the parties have made to sit in front of the district magistrate and all the official and being said that you tell me that how the things will happen. Why didn't these types of things hadn't been done in Sambhal? Means why we shouldn't wait for 2 or 3 days?
I will get Vishnu Shankar Jain to respond to you. I don't know how much of this conversation he has heard because he's just tuned in, but I presume that he's heard pretty much what you had to say. But I just want you to answer one small question, Tariq Khan Saab. You say, why has the ASI woken up today to carry out these surveys, right? That's what you said, inspections, isn't it?
No, not the inspection. ASI said that certain type of changes had been done in Sambhal Mosque.
So can you tell me how many years back? ठीक है, आराम से,
you are not there. You are not there. 10 years back you are not there.
सवाल पूछ लूं सर आपसे?
हाँ पूछिए.
1998 कितने साल पहले की बात है? 1998
26 साल. 26.
तो आपने देखा होगा, क्योंकि आपने ये पढ़ा होगा एफिडेविट, and you must have read it very carefully.
Yes.
The first inspections were carried out in 1998, 26 years ago. Sir, I am almost going to be 50 in a few days. I don't know how old you are, but that's half my life back. So I just want you to know, sir, that the inspections were taking place, and even then, the ASI in clause 3 of its response says that even then there were problems and they were not allowed to carry out the inspections. So it is not woken up today. It is only submitted an affidavit because the matter has reached court in the precipitate manner that it has. And therefore, the ASI is submitting its affidavit referencing the past. 26 साल पुरानी भी बात वो बता रहे हैं. So, आप गलत कह रहे हैं कि the ASI is just woken up. It is politically motivated. Its intervention is politically motivated. So, please just be aware of the facts. Because the other day you were also saying, oh, Places of Worship Act must apply to this particular masjid. As you know, sir, this is an ASI protected monument, and clause 4,
I have a question.
Clause 4, subsection 3 exempts all ASI protected. So, आप थोड़ा पढ़ के आए, मगर again, you have not read absolutely the fine print. So, I was just apprising you. 1 minute. Let me bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain.
I just have a question. Ask Vishnu Shankar Jain whether Gyanvapi is ASI protected or not.
Okay.
Simple. Yes, sir.
Vishnu Shankar Jain, would you like to respond to Tariq Khan, who is saying that you are part of a deliberate attempt to stoke communal passions, and you have got the ASI also to submit false affidavits and make up stories to try and grab Muslim land, etc., etc.?
See, first of all, Rahul, we have to understand that ASI has notified this as a protected monument way back in the year 1920. Like 104 years back, ASI had notified it as a protected monument. At that time, there was no political intentions. And what we are doing is we are trying to follow the act. We are trying to implement the act. As per the provisions of ASI Act 1958, ASI has to have the possession. It's a mandatory requirement that ASI will be in possession of its protected monument. Here, because of mobocracy and because of certain hooliganism, ASI has lost its possession. And if you will see the affidavit of ASI paragraph 11 clearly mentions it. मैं तारिक साहब को थोड़ा विरोध करना चाहता हूं. ASI has time and again protested, and ASI has filed a FIR also on 19th of January 2018 when an illegal railing was put. ASI has also mentioned in this affidavit that how the changes were made in this monument, and why ASI has come up today? Because the Honorable Court, Civil Justice Senior Division had issued notice to the ASI and called a response from the ASI. So the difficulty which the survey team had faced, the same difficulty ASI has also faced for so many years. Now the point is this, that if you are in favor of an act, if you want to implement the Places of Worship Act, जो यहाँ पे apply नहीं होता है, you will also, I think, equally respect the Central Act, which is the ASI Act 1958. Why don't you say that ASI has to take possession of its own monument? I want to give you a situation. Can you imagine that Taj Mahal, ASI protected monument, is not within the control of the ASI, and ASI loses its possession? Sir, please understand what you are saying. And the second question is that whether Gyanvapi is a ASI protected monument. No, sir, Gyanvapi is not an ASI protected monument. The so-called disputed mosque, the suit was filed, and Honorable Justice Rohit Ranjan Agarwal of Allahabad High Court on 19th of December 2023 has held that suit can be filed to determine the religious character. The matter has traveled.
Yeah, I think we just...
So this is the legal position.
This
Please
is the legal
read the
position.
Places of Worship Act in its entirety, not in isolation.
Yes. So, viewers, I just want you to understand what Vishnu Shankar Jain is saying. Under the Places of Worship Act, there is no bar on determining the character of a place of worship anywhere in this country, which is whether that particular place of worship is a Muslim place of worship, a Buddhist place of worship, a Sikh or a Hindu place of worship. You can do that. What you can't do is to alter the character of the place of worship. That is, if it is a Hindu place of worship, it can't suddenly become a Muslim one, and a Muslim one can't become a Hindu one. So this is the basic issue. Now you can grumble and you can say the law doesn't cover all the bases. But then you have to blame the Congress because it brought the law in 1991. To the Narasimha Rao government that brought it in. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, I can't understand one thing. We have seen what happened when a court mandated an ASI survey. We saw the violence. I'm not getting into who fired the first shot, who threw the first stone. Immaterial for today's discussion. But there is a distinct pattern. The Masjid Committee just doesn't want even the ASI, which is the bona fide owner of this place of worship, to inspect it. What is there to hide, Mr. Poonawalla? And doesn't that amount to cheating the Hindu community and the state?
Thank you, Rahul, so much for having me on the show. There are three issues here. So you don't want to get into the violence. And let me only say that I'm very glad Vishnu Jain is on the show. I'm very glad he's safe. And I always wish for his and his father's safety. So I'm glad that is taken care of. But let me come to the issue at hand. Look, the argument of the ASI is bizarre, if not ridiculous. And I feel terrible today on your show that an institution as respected as the ASI has decided to become this unprofessional. So here are the questions. The order passed by the court was ex parte. The Honorable Chief Justice verbally said today in Supreme Court, he says he has a lot to speak on this issue, but he will allow the petitions to go to the High Court. However, he's asked ASI to hold their horses. He's asked the court not to do anything till 8th of January, till the matter is heard. And he's also said that, look, peace must be thing. And he's not closed the petition. He said, I've kept the petition alive. I have kept the petition alive. And that says a lot. You understand law. Vishnu Bhai understands law. Tariq Saab understands law. And the BJP spokesperson understands law. Now let's come to the second part of it. And if the party order is passed, there is already one inspection. Let your viewers know that by the ASI, there was already one inspection done. No violence took place. If the Masjid Committee was cheating Hindus, or they were cheating Indians, or they were cheating the government, why was the first survey allowed? Let's ask that question. Now let's come to the bigger issue. Is it the claim of the ASI on affidavit that since 2018 or whenever they've lost control of this monument and they've not come in? If that be the case, the FIR that they filed in 2018 for this railing, which was outside, not in the premises, outside the premises, there was a railing put. Why did the government in 2018 not break it down? Let me think. Who was the weak government in 2018? Maybe it was Manmohan Singh and Akhilesh Yadav. No, Google is telling me it was Modi ji and Yogi Adityanath ji. So, okay, the ASI has lost control since the past 10, 15 or half your lifetime, and they've had nothing to do until a petition comes up in court suddenly.
Okay.
Now that a pattern across the country saying what is the character, I have no problem. As the BJP as the SP spokesperson Tariq Khan rightly said, please let us determine all characters and all claims. I have nothing. I am giving no power to Vishnu Jain.
Okay, response coming in. You asked 3 questions, response coming in.
I want to counter Tehseen with 2 points.
Okay, 3 questions. The first question to you, sir, is that the order was passed ex parte, number 1, and the petition has been kept alive, so it can't be a victory for you. That's what he's saying. Number 2, why was the first survey allowed on the 19th of November if there was something to hide?
Yes.
And point number 3, has ASI been kept out by this masjid committee?
See, the first point is that Mr. Tehseen Bhai has said that the petition has been kept alive. Yeah, definitely the petition is kept alive, but there is no actual remedy which is given to the mosque committee. What the Supreme Court has said today, the Supreme Court has asked the mosque committee that please approach the High Court, and the Supreme Court has said, sir, aap oral observations bhul jaiye Tehseen Bhai, you also know the law. The Supreme Court has said in the written order, I have the written order with me, that we are not expressing any opinion on the merits of the case. So now the matter will be decided by the High Court, and the proceeding before the trial court is stayed till the time petition is filed in the High Court, and then the High Court will decide that what is to be the further course of action. Point number 1. Point number 2, you have said that 19 का जो सर्वे है वो बहुत आराम से हो गया. You are absolutely wrong, Tehseen Bhai. With greater sense of responsibility, I am saying 19 को सर्वे आराम से नहीं हुआ. On 19, when the survey was being conducted, the Advocate Commissioner has mentioned in his notice that नारे तकबीर अल्लाह अकबर के नारे लग रहे थे और वहां पे सर्वे नहीं हो पाया, नमाज का वक्त हो गया और हमको बोला गया कि चले जाइए नहीं तो इस भीड़ को नहीं रोक पाएंगे. राहुल, I request you to please play the visuals of 19th of November जहां पे भारी मात्रा में भीड़ बाहर इकट्ठा हो गई थी और बोल रहे थे हम आपको ये सर्वे करने नहीं देंगे. What was the MP, Samajwadi Party MP and MLA doing when the court work was going on? How did they enter the premises when we were conducting the survey? और एक बात और कहना चाहता हूं, ASI has also written in its affidavit today, the affidavit which the ASI has filed, that when they also went to conduct the survey, वहां पे उनका वीडियो बनाया जा रहा था, and they had lot of difficulty in conducting this survey. So the point is that we are trying to implement the Central Act. It's an ASI protected monument by 1958, and ASI has to take possession of it. Why don't you admit this legal position, sir?
Very important. Samajwadi Party spokesperson, would you like to respond? You didn't even allow the survey to happen peacefully on the 19th of November. That's why I'm asking, what is there to hide? Why do you want to cheat the Hindus and the government and the ASI when it comes to determining the character of this place, which is allowed under the law?
Commissioner of that region is saying that we had the input that there could be violence. Now, while Vishnu Jain had been allowed at that time to go along with 110, 20, 50 people.
Oh my God, sir, he is the arguing counsel. He has to be there.
He has to be there alone, not with hundreds of people.
He wasn't there with hundreds of people. Prove it. Prove Mr. Khan.
He said that video is wrong, sir. I'm saying
I went with the magistrate SP, CO, as well as the other lawyers, and the area was cordoned off. There were no chanting of slogans by me. You are absolutely and factually wrong. The video has also been done.
People in the morning 7 a.m. Hindi khabar.
You are wrong, sir. I will leave the debate right now. If you can show a single video. I will leave the debate right now. Please show the video. This is just a rumor. You can't speak on a national television without, on the basis of a rumor. You have to show facts. Without facts, you are speaking, sir. I'm sorry. And your party has been tool to spread this rumor, to spread this misinformation. How can you be so irresponsible, sir? Rahul, I'm saying one thing. समाजवादी पार्टी के प्रवक्ता मुझे वो वीडियो दिखाएं जहां पे मैं नारे लगाते हुए ये एडवोकेट कमीशन करने जा रहा था. ये डिबेट में यही खत्म कर दूं.
Okay, just 1 minute. Let me just come in here. Tariq Khan, have you...
How can you be so irresponsible?
Absolutely. The point is, viewers, that there is a generally now, and you know, Tehseen Poonawalla said, I'm glad you are okay, that you are safe. Now viewers, deliberately certain elements are painting a target by misrepresenting the facts, and the target is being painted on the back of Vishnu Shankar Jain. So he is going to become a hate figure for the Muslim community, and these people, the Samajwadi party and others, the cleric who today landed up there, Toki Raza, affiliated to the Congress party, what was he doing there, viewers? What votes was he canvassing? You see, the problem is, and I want to bring in the UP BJP, the problem is, I just want to make one very important intervention. The problem is that the Samajwadi party lost a crucial by-election in this region. And they cannot believe that Muslims have actually voted in that by-election for the BJP candidate. This is a constituency with 58% Muslims. And the BJP candidate got more than 1 lakh votes, viewers, which shows that Muslims voted for the BJP candidate, shattering this narrative that was being built that no Muslim trusts the BJP. So what are they doing, viewers? They are making a big shindig. And they are saying that, look, we told you, you should not trust the BJP. Look what its administration is doing. It is now murdering Muslim youth, when the youth themselves showed up with weapons. And there is enough footage of that, and in fact we have pictures of it, and I have shown it to you, viewers, of a person shooting with a pistol at the police. So this is fundamentally what is happening. This is an attempt now to try and convince, there's the person with the pistol in his hand and the stone. Let's bring out those visuals. I had asked for those visuals. There it is. There you can see it, viewers. There's the man. His hand is extended, he's masked, and he's shooting. It's very clear. It's very clear that there has been an attempt to bait the police, to elicit a response, and then play victim. And the Samajwadi party has jumped in there to say, see, I told you, don't vote for the BJP. They can't be trusted. This is the narrative, viewers. No, one second. I want to bring in the BJP spokesperson. Everyone has had a free field day. Let me bring him in. No, 1 second. Let me bring him in. Tehseen, 1 second, please. Please give me 30 seconds, please. He hasn't had a chance, and it's only fair that he gets a chance. Then you at least have a full debate here. Now, I want to ask you, Mr. Trivedi, the question that is continually asked is that if on the 19th there was such a situation that developed where certain individuals started threatening the people who went to conduct the survey, why was it on the 24th you did not deploy, or you did not have intelligence, or you did not act on the intelligence to disarm and create a cordon sanitaire around this premises of this masjid? Can you respond?
Rahul, this place is, I think, approximately 2 acres. This masjid is approximately located in a place surrounded by houses, and there are about 2,000 houses. If we could have done it much better, we could have cordoned off the place. 2,000 houses should have been house-to-house search, subject to house-to-house search. We should have had section 144 placed there. We should have had a curfew. We should have had a narco test of everybody who was staying there, had drones, helicopter, gunships, and special forces on ground. This is not possible. We have 50 surveys on a daily basis declared by the court in every district, in every city. These things don't happen. The first day we knew these things almost always happen. When you go to a disputed place, that ruckus will be created. It was created. We had enough force on the ground to save the situation. We went again to help to conduct the survey. There were only 5 people there. There were only 5 lawyers. There was no Jai Shri Ram or anything like that. Okay. Vishnu Shankar Jain was present there. There were 5 lawyers who were all on their job and supported by the security forces and the administration. Had we not deployed that kind of force, probably these people would not have come out alive. We wouldn't have Vishnu Jain sitting here with us today. These kind of things happen when you have got a deliberate provocation. The survey was conducted at 7 o'clock. The administration took precautions to do it at an hour that it would not trouble people. We had taken all the kind of conceivable possible precautions. This was not an invading force. This was a survey force.
Okay, and look at the timestamp on that particular CCTV, viewers, where an individual is coming to break, in fact, the CCTV. That's just the preceding loop, and we will come to that. And if you look at it, it's around 10 in the morning, which was that's the one. That's the visual, And you can see on the corner of your screens, if you look closely, you see the timestamp. And what does that timestamp tell you, viewers? That at the moment at which this attack was taking place outside, the survey was going on inside. So this was not some post-reaction or a before reaction. This was a deliberate attempt to derail the survey, as it has been done to different degrees in the past. Now, Vishnu Shankar Jain, I want to ask you, much is being made about this fact that this is an ex parte order, and therefore the due diligence hasn't been done by the lower court. Could you respond?
See, Rahul, this is, I want to say, and I would just highlight it, this is completely against the settled legal position. I will cite you the judgment 1989 Supreme Court, where the Honorable Supreme Court has held that yes, ex parte Advocate Commission survey can be ordered. And what is the settled legal position? What is why the Supreme Court has said it like this? The Supreme Court has said that appointment of Advocate Commissioner does not decide the rights of the parties. It's a completely innocuous order. And what is the mandatory duty of the Advocate Commissioner? That when Advocate Commissioner will go to conduct the survey, it will inform all the parties, and every party has to be present in the survey, which was done in this case. So to say that before appointing Advocate Commissioner you must be heard is absolutely against the provisions of the law, against the judgments of the Supreme Court, and against many judgments of the High Court, and all these legal positions will cite before the High Court. ये जो पूरा फसाड क्रिएट किया गया राहुल इस देश में, एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर कर दिया, एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर कर दिया, हमको बिना सुने कर दिया, कितना बड़ा झूठ बोल रहे हो आप सर? आप सही लीगल पोजीशन तो बताओ। एडवोकेट कमिश्नर क्या कर रहा है वहां पे जाके? वीडियोग्राफी फोटोग्राफी तो कर रहा है। ही इज नॉट डूइंग एनी डिगिंग। यू हैव जस्ट टेकन इट कि वहां पे डिगिंग हो रही है, खुदाई हो रही है। खुदाई का ऑर्डर ही नहीं है। द कोर्ट इज ओनली डायरेक्टेड टू कंडक्ट वीडियोग्राफी एंड फोटोग्राफी थ्रू नॉन इन्वेजिव मेथड्स, और एडवोकेट कमीशन अपॉइंट करने के लिए कोई सुनवाई की जरूरत नहीं होती है। एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर कैन बी पास। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट है विद ग्रेटेस्ट सेंस ऑफ रिस्पांसिबिलिटी। आई एम सेइंग राहुल।
Mr. Tariq Khan, what's the case then? Why are you jumping around?
Vishnu Jain, you are not the resident of Sambhal. Okay. Why Supreme Court says that peace committee should be in action?
Now we've changed the goalpost. Hang on. Tariq Khan, respond on the merit of the question that is being posed to you. Don't go down that route. I'm asking you, Tariq Khan. Tariq Khan, I'm asking you, respond. What is the case?
Listen, what I'm saying is that what court has said, Supreme Court has said that there should be, he's not resident of Sambhal. Or both the parties, Hindus or Muslims, should be taken into confidence that yes, and Vishnu Shankar Jain was there. Survey has happened.
Wow.
Listen to me.
You ask a question. You ask a question A, you get a response to question Z.
Where is
it written in the order? Where is it written in the order? Rahul, ask him. ये peace committee बनाने का order कहाँ है सर? बता दीजिए. ये debate यहीं खत्म. This debate will be over. Please tell me the Supreme Court. Please don't quote Supreme Court wrongly, sir.
Please.
Supreme Court को तो गलत मत quote करिए.
Vishnu Shankar Jain, what are you reading out? Please read out.
Order पढ़ लीजिए.
Read out the order. Read out the order.
Supreme Court
Listen to the order.
Yes. We are. Yes, sir. जो है as it is, I am quoting, unquoting. We are told that the matter is fixed before the Court of Learned Civil Judge Senior Division on 8th of January 2025. The Learned Civil Judge Senior Division will not proceed with the matter till the revision petition to be filed by the petitioner listed before the High Court. The report submitted by the Advocate Commissioner, if any, will be kept in sealed cover and will not be opened. Any further proceeding in the suit would be subject to the order passed by the High Court. Sir, इसमें peace committee बनाने का order कहाँ है? मुझे बता दीजिए. मैं आपसे हाथ जोड़ के निवेदन कर रहा हूँ. Please don't मिस सुप्रीम कोर्ट को तो गलत मत कोट करिए. आपने मुझे गलत कोट कर दिया, मुझे दंगे का जिम्मेदार कर दिया, पर कम से कम सुप्रीम कहाँ है?
Supreme Court gave order verbally as well as written order.
I'm sorry, verbal order, observations don't count, sir. Please understand that. If that were the case,
Supreme Court said that.
Viewers, if verbal obita dictas were to be counted, then I can tell you, viewers, that many cases would have been decided there and then. Kejriwal would still be in jail, because if you remember, a large number of judges in obita dicta said that the cases against Mr. Sisodia, Mr. Kejriwal were watertight cases. This is what was said. Have a look at the High Court obita dictas. Don't go by obita dictas, go by what is written in the final order. And Mr. Khan has misrepresented 4 times and has been caught out, viewers, tonight on pure facts, nothing more. And volume will not change anything. You can shout, but you can't drown out the facts. Yes, Tehseen Poonawalla, you wanted to make a point, and I want to wrap out and move on after this.
And
yes.
one more thing, Rahul.
Yes, 1 second. Let Tehseen make his point. Then I'll come back to you, Mr. Jain. 1 second. You can have the last word. Yes, Tehseen Poonawalla, make your point, please.
There are 2 issues that I want to raise. One is on the image that you showed of this gentleman with the mask who came in pointing the gun.
Yes, sir.
How do you know that this gentleman is a local from Sambhal? Because the SP of Sambhal is on record saying, he's on record saying, outsiders have come in, which gives credence to what Mr. Tariq Khan is saying. This was organized by the government, if not the government, a political party that benefited from this. Right. How else, when you know a survey is happening, would you outsiders come in their guns and the administration is cooking a snook? After all, Sambhal is not a Delhi or Mumbai where movement is come to know, especially in something that is so communally sensitive.
Yeah.
And I do think that the Supreme Court, I know that the Supreme Court, the order dictated by the bench, did say that peace must be maintained, and the ASG did assure the Honorable Court that peace would be maintained. And I'm sure Mr. Vishnu Jain Bhai would want peace to be maintained.
Of course.
After all, we are
So peace is being maintained. For the last 3 days, there's not been a crow that has flown.
Except that an SP should have been suspended.
No, my dear friend, except that today, a person from the Congress party, cleric Tokir, lands up there, viewers. He's been arrested, Tokir Raza. And do you know who Tokir Raza is, viewers? He's a hate speech accused. He is a hate speech accused. He has come out and spread hate against the Hindu community. He lands up there, if you please, viewers. To do what? To play marbles with the administration. Kanche khelne aaye the wo. Viewers, just think about, well, sir, he became a member, certainly in the last assembly election. He was standing with Miss Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, your in-law. Now he might have quit, fair enough, but he's still of the same ecosystem. Okay? Maybe you've got the latest on it. I don't know what goes on in the Congress party in any case. I don't think even Rahul Gandhi knows what's going on in the Congress party. We'll come to that in just 30 seconds. But Vishnu Shankar Jain, please respond on this point that Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla is making, that you brought in and the administration brought in crooks and embedded, whatever, your team or whatever it is. You're part of the administration. It's being implied here. So let me just say that people like you were brought in to go out there and create mayhem. Vishnu Jain.
I think Tehseen Bhai is a very well respected person and I also respect him, so he should not be factually wrong. आपको एलिगेशन लगाना है, फैक्ट्स ठीक कर लीजिए, उसके बाद एलिगेशन लगाइए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Rahul, the time of event and the timeline is that we were asked to reach the Kotwali police station on 24th at 6:30 in the morning. In compliance of the orders of the Advocate Commissioner, we reached.
Yes.
I, District Magistrate, SP, CO, SDM, the Zafar Ali Saab, the lawyer for Mosque Committee, Central Government, State Government lawyers, we all went together from the area which is cordoned off. The video is also there in the public domain. So how can you use this so irresponsible statement that we went with the slogan of Jai Shri Ram और उसकी वजह से दंगा हो गया. दूसरी बात, एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर की आपने बात की थी तहसीन भाई, आप ये देख लीजिए 1989 1 SCC पेज 19, ये जजमेंट है सुप्रीम कोर्ट का श्रीमती राजबीर कौर एंड अदर वर्सेस एस चोकश्री. इसमें हुआ है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर पास हो सकता है फॉर अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ एडवोकेट कमिश्नर. तो जो देश में इतना बड़ा माहौल क्रिएट किया है, हमें बिना सुने ऑर्डर पास कर दिया. यू गाइज आर ऑल रॉन्ग ऑन लॉ एंड विल प्रूव इट बिफोर द हाई कोर्ट, डोंट वरी.
No, Vishnu Shankar Jain, they are not wrong, they are deliberately misleading. They are deliberately misleading. And it will all be clear in the High Court in just a few days. I need to move on, viewers. Very important story. Very important story, and let's go to it. Viewers, it appears that to save Rahul Gandhi the blushes, embarrassment, so to speak, has the Congress fallaciously blamed EVMs for the rout it has suffered in Maharashtra? It's a fundamental question tonight. And the question is being prompted by an exclusive article in the Indian Express by a reporter who's very experienced and has covered the Congress for very, very long. And in this article, which was the banner, which is the top headline of the Indian Express this morning, it suggests that there were many within the Congress and continue to be that are upset with the High Command that is Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Kharge and Rahul Gandhi's sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and certain others, for spinning a yarn and maligning India's democracy. The article says that many in the Congress knew that the party was going to lose the Maharashtra election. In fact, viewers, in great detail, the article cites a survey conducted by the MVA, by the party across 103 seats and involving a little over 57,000 respondents, which painted a grim picture for the MVA barely a few weeks before voting day. Now viewers, this number is not a small one. 103 or so seats out of 288, almost 40% of the seats. On that a survey is conducted, and this was pan the state of Maharashtra, not concentrated in one area. And the number of respondents, 57,000, is huge sample, viewers. Some of the best exit polls only have about 10 to 12,000 respondents because they're very expensive to conduct. So, backed by the Congress party, a survey organization went out there and conducted a survey. And the survey involved 103 seats across 57,000 respondents. It was conducted in October, just weeks before the election. Election happened, as you know, in one phase on the 20th of November. MVA was ahead in only 44 as compared to 54 in Lok Sabha polls. So in assembly lead terms, it was only ahead in 44 of the seats it led in, viewers, out of 54 during the Lok Sabha. So in 4 months, it fell back even in the seats it was leading in. It was supposed to be those strong seats of the Congress. In those strong seats, it was trailing. Forget about the other seats. The survey also said Muslims were the only category, the only social category where the MVA had a lead over the BJP-led NDA. The survey said that general caste, OBC, SC, SEBC, ST voters overwhelmingly favored the NDA. That in fact 82% of the 57,000 surveyed said the Ladki Bahin beneficiary, they had one in their family. So they all said it was the differentiator, the clincher. The survey also says 17% of voters had changed their preference from the MVA to the NDA on account of the Ladki Bahin scheme. And if the Congress was aware, as the leaders quoted in the Indian Express admit, that the NDA was expected to win the election, then by blaming the EVMs, is the Congress happy to besmirch India's image to save the science face by saying that the elections were rigged? What does it say, viewers? That we are a banana republic to the international community. This is the one thing we have going for us overwhelmingly. It's the strength of our democracy, our electoral democracy. And if you constantly question it, people will say, they are no better than even Bangladesh or Pakistan. And that is the impression that is being sought to be created by a political party that has no problems in painting the country in a poor light to perhaps save the big boss. And if this is the case, then isn't the party putting one individual's image above the national interest, viewers? And there is breaking news coming in. In fact, a meeting was held today. The Congress party has come out and said in its resolution that the election commission needs to be held to account because it's behaved suspiciously. Kharge has also come out and said EVMs have made electoral processes suspicious. EC has a constitutional obligation to ensure free and fair elections. Questions are being raised on EC's commitment to fulfilling that obligation. You have Nana Patole, who's the chief of the Maharashtra unit of the Congress, who said discrepancies in percentage of the votes is serious. If there are doubts in the minds of the public about EVMs, it is the duty of the Election Commission to dispel them. Pramod Tiwari, another Congress member of Parliament, has said NDA does not have the mandate in Maharashtra. The result has been manufactured via EVMs. Congress Working Committee, viewers, and I'm breaking that news for you, has questioned EVM in its resolution today. It is said, and I quote, CWC believes the integrity of the entire electoral process is being severely compromised. Free and fair elections is a constitutional mandate that is being called into serious question by the partisan functioning of the Election Commission. Increasing sections of society are becoming frustrated and deeply apprehensive. The Congress will take these up public concerns at a national movement. Viewers, let's open this up. Let me ask Tehseen Poonawala and Sanju Verma to get into this straight off. Sanju Verma, first of all, I want to come to you. So many questions are being raised, percentage, votes counted, votes not counted, votes suddenly increasing over 24 hours, etc., etc. There are many people who say that, oh, you know, the EC has become a handmaiden of the BJP. The Supreme Court said let the appointment be more, as they say, a balanced procedure by also having somebody from the opposition as part of the selection. You've heard these. You've heard these. Are any of these to you grouses legitimate at all?
You know, Rahul, much as I love doing your shows, I'm appalled that mainstream media, and this is with no offense to you, mainstream media is actually having debates on the preposterous, reckless, baseless, and superfluous allegations by a completely debilitated opposition led by a thoroughly debilitated Congress party, which is at the forefront of this entire narrative that EVMs can be hacked, can be rigged, can be manipulated. And don't forget that repeatedly since 2014, the credibility of the Chief Election Commissioner and the Election Commission has been undermined. I'm not even going to get into the juvenile arguments that, oh, when they win Karnataka, EVMs are fine. When they win Himachal and Telangana, EVMs are fine. But after the rout in Haryana, after the humiliating defeat in Maharashtra, the only recourse that a fractious opposition has, the only recourse that they have is, oh, you know what? The voting percentages suddenly shot up by 8 or 9% between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Oh, you know what? The battery percentage was still 99%. How can that be possible? I just want to say one thing to your audience, which is the biggest stakeholder in these kind of debates. And very quickly, for the first time, EVMs were used on a pilot basis in 1982 in an assembly election in Kerala, which the BJP did not win. In assembly elections on a large scale, EVMs were used for the first time in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Delhi elections of 1998. All these three elections were won by the Congress party, not the BJP. For the first time in a general election, EVMs were used on a wide scale was in the Lok Sabha elections of 2004. The BJP did not win. It was the Congress which won Lok Sabha 2004. And EVMs were also used in 2009 when the Congress came back to power, not the BJP. Suddenly, post 2014, the very credibility of EVMs is being questioned. It's a case of, as they say in Hindi, Angur khatte hain, the grapes are sour for the opposition. But I want to say one very important thing. I was listening to Mr. Khadge's statement and, you know, his comments which are there on social media. He says EVMs are a waste of Dalit votes. EVMs are a waste of tribal votes. So for Mr. Khadge, through your show, Rahul, I always speak hard facts on your show. We have today a tribal chief minister in Odisha, Mohan Charan Majhi. We have a tribal chief minister from BJP in Chhattisgarh, Vishnu Dio Sai. We have a tribal deputy chief minister in Chhattisgarh, Arun Sao. Now Mr. Khadge says we don't respect Dalits and hence we use EVMs. It is as bizarre as it can be. But to his bizarre logic, my logical explanation is this. We have a Dalit deputy chief minister in Madhya Pradesh, Jagdish Deoda. We have a Dalit deputy chief minister in Rajasthan, Premchand Bairwa. And last point, the first ever tribal chief minister of Jharkhand was from the BJP, Babulal Marandi. And in 10 seconds, we have had 4 very illustrious OBC chief ministers in Madhya Pradesh alone, right from Babulal Gaur and Uma Bharti to we had Kalyan Singh in Uttar Pradesh and we also had Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh. Right. So please don't lecture us on Dalit and tribal.
Tehseen Poonawala, it's very simple. No one from the Congress party has come out and denied the survey was conducted and the results of that survey. A respectable newspaper that perhaps you read and the Congress ecosystem reads very closely, the Indian Express put this out, number one. Number two, however, 2 very senior leaders from the Congress, Chidambaram 1 and Chidambaram 2, have come out and said that don't blame the EVMs. This is absolutely wrong. So Tehseen Poonawala, when you knew that you were not on a strong wicket, that the MVA was going to lose because your own surveys said this. It's all out there in great excruciating detail. No one has sued the Indian Express. No one has contradicted the Indian Express. Why are you continuing to malign India's democracy? Is it only because you want to save the first family, the great scion of the first family, the blushes? Simple.
Rahul, thank you so much once again. And as you know, not only was I the petitioner in the EVM case, I was invited by the Election Commission with regards to the EVM. So there are certain questions that I want to raise. These are technical questions, and I hope I'm not interrupted. EVMs is here to stay. EVMs are here to stay. You can't throw them away. But there are questions that the Election Commission refuses to answer time after time, and I'm not putting aspersions, not casting aspersions on them. I'm saying I don't get an answer to these. Number one, why is it that every time there's a wrong vote cast in an EVM or there's an extra vote that is cast, every single time, that extra vote has always been for the BJP. No other political parties ever got that. That has never been answered. So if these are malfunctions, why does that malfunction never happen for the SP or the Congress? Number two, there have been number of FIRs of these EVMs gone missing. There is no record of these EVMs being maintained by the government. They are maintained by private contractors, and they don't have a record of who these private contractors is. So where are these missing EVMs?
Okay.
The third question, it's a little technical, just allow me.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to go into too much detail. What I have repeatedly asked the Election Commissioner for 3 or 4 things, they're very reasonable demands. I'm saying, look, we have the VVPAT. Why is the VVPAT on a paper whose ink disappears after 4 months? Why isn't the VVPAT paper barcoded with the EVM so we know it's the same VVPAT? And number 3, just 100% tallying, forget what the statistics say, and removes all doubt. Because, and I'll end here, in the Lok Sabha elections, out of 537 constituencies, the votes cast and vote counted actually did not tally. Until now, the Election Commission hasn't given me an answer.
Let me tell you, in the latest round, some geniuses came up with these facts. In the latest round.
No.
One second, Tessie, I'm not talking about this. Please, just give me 30 seconds. I'm talking about Maharashtra specifically. I'm talking about Maharashtra specifically. Give me 30 seconds, please.
Sure.
And you know what, viewers? This genius newspaper that calls itself the bastion of Indian journalism forgot that when it counted the supposed votes that were cast, it didn't look at the fine print. Those were the votes that were counted by the EVM. And they said, oh, some thousands of votes have disappeared. And the Election Commission said, yeah, that's because you have forgotten to add the postal ballots. Viewers, it is this level of illiteracy in the media that informs this debate. And there are desperate politicians who want to cover their faces with a fig leaf of lies and manipulation. Now, just think about it, viewers. Here is a Prime Minister who sets himself a benchmark of 400 seats. Look at it anecdotally. He is called the dictator of the world. How much does he end up with, viewers? 240. Who has egg on his face? The Prime Minister. Do you think a dictator would want egg on his own face? Would shoot himself in his own foot? And viewers, who gets those big number of seats that made the difference between majority, even a simple majority? Forget about 400, viewers. It was a Samajwadi party. And guess how many seats the Samajwadi party won, Tariq Khan? Can you tell me? 40 plus seats in the member of parliament election in Lok Sabha from Uttar Pradesh. Right or wrong? Yes, he nods. He nods because he also knows. He also knows that those extra votes that Tehseen keeps talking about fell actually in Akhilesh's favor. So viewers,
I'm not talking about
viewers, you know, the point is bad workmen blame their tools. That's it.
Exactly.
It's simple as that. Go to court, go file a case, let's have it out in court. The same Supreme Court, viewers, that earlier also cast absolute all doubts aside over the electoral process. Now you can argue we should have a VVPAT, with all voters going in, there should be a VVPAT. We can spend 10 days counting the votes, no problems. No problem. That's the solution. Let's have it. But the Supreme Court itself laid down how many VVPATs there should be per machine. And viewers, they still don't want to accept it. But you know what they want is postal ballots, and they want actual ballots that are counted by hand and put in the box by hand. You know why, viewers? Because Lalu Prasad will tell you it's the easiest to manipulate. He's on record. Go check him. But I want Sanju Verma to continue for 30 seconds with me because I want a question to ask of you of the economy, Ms. Verma. Let's move on. Lastly, viewers, as we move on, I don't want to waste my time on this useless issue of the EVMs. Now we know that the Congress had a survey which told them that, look, you're going to mess up, and they still don't want to believe it. That's their problem. But India's economic growth has slowed to a near 2-year low of 5.4% in the July-September quarter of this fiscal due to the poor performance of manufacturing and mining sectors. However, India has remained the fastest growing major economy as China's GDP growth in July-September quarter this year was at 4.6%. The GDP has expanded by 8.1% in July-September quarter of 23-24 fiscal. But this fiscal, look at the difference. It's almost 3%, viewers, and it's gone down. Now, Sanju Verma, there are a large number of givens. We know that there has been a lot that has happened to give momentum to the growth story, but there are also some headwinds. And people actually want to know if this is a temporary blip, or is this now a situation that is going to immerse itself, entrench itself, and there are some bad days ahead?
You know, Rahul, I'm so glad you're having a debate on this very important issue. First and foremost, let me say that in the last 3 years, the average GDP growth of India is 8.3%. In the last financial year, that is FY 23-24, it was 8.2%. We are growing at more than 8% when the world is struggling to grow at even 2%. Yes, the second quarter FY 25 GDP growth has come in at 5.4%, and that is largely led by 3 soft spots. One is manufacturing, which barely grew at 2.2%, electricity, gas and water supply, which grew at 3.5%, vis-a-vis the double-digit growth of 11% or 10% odd that we saw in the same quarter last year.
Yeah.
But the positives, and why I'm confident that we will end financial year 24-25 overall still with a GDP growth of 7% or northwards of that, is because of 4 things. A, the private final consumption expenditure has actually seen a sharp rebound to 6%. It is still lower than the all-time recent high of 7.4%, but 6% PFCE growth is big. And don't forget that it is towards the second half of the financial year that government spending increases. The government final consumption expenditure, GFCE, this quarter has grown at 4.4%. That number, even if it increases to 5.5 or 6.5%, and the possibility of that is very high, the entire dynamics change. And the other interesting bit is that services growth, Rahul, has continued to be a robust 7.1%.
But I want to ask you.
Construction growth continues in this quarter at a very healthy 7.7%.
But I want to ask you a fundamental question. How is it that the RBI got it so wrong? They assumed that this quarter would turn in a figure of 7%.
Yes, the RBI wanted, to normally be very conservative, which is what their stance has been. But in this quarter, second quarter FY25, their exact forecast was 6.8%. For overall FY25, their overall forecast is 7.2%. Now, yes, 6.8% vis-a-vis the actual numbers coming in at 5.4% leave a lot to be desired. But the chief economic advisor, of Niti Aayog, he's out there saying that the big disappointments came in from the export growth, which came in only at 2.8%. They were anticipating 5.5 to 6%.
Okay.
And the other disappointment, they said, was mining, which actually contracted by 0.1%.
Okay, so now viewers,
11%.
I'm quoting from the report itself. She talked about exports, she's absolutely right. But viewers, can we expect the situation to improve? Well, the red flag is that exports face greater uncertainties due to potential policy development somewhere else, means Trump, who could actually increase tariffs, and there could be problems, and an uncertain outlook for monetary policy growth in advanced economies. So that's one important fact. Elevated asset prices globally is a risk factor, and you're going to see inflation. Geopolitical conditions remain fragile and may continue to impact domestic inflation, supply chains and capital flows. Limits to state capacity on capex, capital intensive growth in private corporate sector, and the regulatory environment heralds a term, risk factors for economic growth. So these are problems. They're headwinds.
10 seconds more.
Yeah,
Rahul.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I think since we are discussing this, let's also be very clear about two very important positives that no mainstream anchor besides you is talking of. A, our capital investment expenditure is today as a percentage of GDP at an all-time high of 33.74%.
That is true.
The global average is 23%.
Okay.
And last but not the least, since Rahul Gandhi talks about unemployment, please note that the recent unemployment numbers have come in. Unemployment is at a record low of 6.4% in India.
That is true. Viewers, look, we can't be soothsayers. We can only read the signs. Let's hope that this was a blip and it will go away. We're going to be, of course, monitoring these numbers, viewers, and having more conversations. I'll leave it to this. Vantage coming up with Palki Sharma.
Co-powered by
Those for the question say aye. Against, no. I think the ayes have it.
Social media will soon be banned for under 16-year-olds in Australia after a new law sets a benchmark with one of the world's toughest regulations targeting big tech. It forces tech giants from Instagram and Facebook owner Meta to TikTok to stop minors logging in or face fines of up to $32 million.
We know there is widespread concern and evidence about the severe mental health impact of social media on children. We've seen
a parliamentary inquiry this year heard evidence from parents of children who self-harmed due to social media bullying. Domestic media backed the ban, led by Rupert Murdoch's News Corp.
I'll quickly pull it up.
16-year-old user Eni Lam acknowledges its potential harm, but says it is deeply ingrained in society and the law will force young people to more dangerous parts of the internet.
With such a clear-cut ban, I believe that it will only create a generation of young people who will be more technologically literate in bypassing these walls.
The ban also faced opposition from privacy advocates and some child rights groups, but 77% of the population wanted it, according to latest polls. Speaking on behalf of social media platforms, Australia's Digital Industry Group Managing Director Sunita Bose said the bill was rushed through Parliament.
In some ways it's cart before horse because we have the bill, but we don't have guidance from the Australian government around what are the right methods that a whole host of services subject to this law will need to employ.
In submissions, Google and Meta said the ban should be delayed until an age verification trial finishes, expected in mid-2025. The country will be watched as a test case as a growing number of governments look to implement similar legislation.
Today I can announce that
the ban, considered a political win for Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, could strain Australia's relationship with key ally the United States.
Come here.
Ex-owner Elon Musk, a central figure in President-elect Donald Trump's administration, said in a post this month it seemed a backdoor way to control access to the internet by all Australians. Australia has also made social media platforms pay media outlets royalties for sharing their content, and now plans to threaten them with fines for failing to stamp out scams.
And I feel like people under the age of 16 right now wouldn't know how to live without their phones and social media. It'd be a really hard change for them.
I think it's good to have some sort of limitations for younger kids because there's a lot of stuff online which is quite dangerous and scary for young kids to see.
Somos una generación.
We are a generation that is called technological for a reason, because social media are part of our lives. I think that we should find another solution rather than prohibit social media.
Otra forma que no sea prohibiendo las redes sociales.
Penso sia difficile, ma penso che sarebbe ottimo.
I think it's difficult but great. It's an initiative that makes a lot of sense in Australia, and one that we should bring here to save the next generation from a filter like social media that filters life and doesn't allow you to be completely yourself.
Completamente se stessi.
I don't think it's a good thing, really, because I think that it's not going to stop it, and also the government's taking control of things that it's parents' responsibility, because parents are going to keep still using their social media, aren't they? And their kids are going to be watching them doing it. So what's the point, really?
I mean, like, not to sound like an old fart, but when I was a child, it was my parents' responsibility to not police, but like, you know, enforce what I was doing and like make sure that I was not, you know, exposing myself to any harm. And I think that maybe a government intervention is probably unnecessary on such a wide scale. I think potentially there needs to be a lot more education for parents about what potentially is available on social media to their very young children, and then it should ultimately be, I feel, probably more their responsibility than like a government-wide ban on something like that.
I'm feeling very angry. I feel that this government has taken democracy and thrown.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. We begin with Bangladesh again. Their court has refused to ban ISKCON. The Yunus government called it a Hindu fundamentalist organization. They insist that Hindus are safe in the country and accuse Indian media of running what they call an industrial-grade disinformation campaign. But can they deny the images coming out of Bangladesh of college students stomping on the Indian flag? We'll show you what we're talking about. Meanwhile, in India, the latest GDP numbers are out. They're lower than expectations. We will discuss why. In the Ukraine war, Putin has responded to reports that say that the West may give nuclear weapons to Kiev. The Russian president has issued a warning. We'll tell you all about it. Also, about the new Russian missile that is being called unbeatable.